Hello. Um, Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be trying something different as far as the stream goes. Using a better camera. It's called my laptop webcam. This did not work for me very well last week because the audio didn't sound very good. Um, Grace had even mentioned that the audio did not sound good in our last video. So we're trying again. If this doesn't work, I have some other backup options. Please feel free to let me know if something is going wrong with the stream. If I need to make any changes right away, I am watching the comments like a good YouTuber. And anything you say about me during this cast, I will take personally. You can promise that. So be mean. I'll cry on camera. Added perk. Live streaming. Okay. I think all this isolation has really gone to my head because I am extra weird. I haven't been this weird since last month. So, so last week, we talked about decision matrices and the idea that a decision matrix is really useful for making decisions. How do they help you make decisions? Well, it turns qualitative questions into a math problem. And we can take math problems and solve those all day. Math problems have definitive answers. 1 + 1 = 2. We know that. So if you can take a qualitative problem, turn it into a math problem, this allows us to make decisions a lot easier. Now, when it comes to making decisions about items, this gets to be a little bit harder. Let's say we are considering purchasing some surveying equipment, okay? Surveying equipment. And to make a decision on a surveying equipment, we're looking at several different items, okay? We're looking at cost. We're looking at usability. How easy is it to learn? How easy is it to operate? I'll call that learnability. We don't need real words. We're engineers and scientists. We can make up our own words. As long as we know what they mean, then nobody else has to see our work. So we got learnability, usability, cost. We'll also say maneuverability. It'd be really nice if we had a surveying equipment that fit in the palm of our hand. Just walk around and be like, doot. That'd be great. So we'll say portability. I feel like cost is left out. Call that one payability. Way untrendy. So we got these 4 options. Let's say maybe we could fill this out with more. If we wanted to come up with a nice matrix, let's evaluate our options. Okay, we got like a GPS rover. Basically what that is it's a GPS unit that sits on a stick. You can walk around, hit a button, and record a point. Okay, that'll be option 1. Option 2 is we have, let's say, a robotic rover. Okay, and we'll say option 3 is, say, I don't know if you can read any of the words that are on the screen. I suppose that's the cost of what we're doing. Should probably turn on my. So let's say we're just evaluating between these 2 options. To try to make a decision, we say, okay, GPS rover is going to be much cheaper, so we'll call this 7. Whereas a robotic rover much more expensive. We'll call them 2. Usability, GPS rover, pretty nice. A robotic rover is a little bit nicer there. Learnability, a GPS rover, very simple, whereas a robotic rover, not quite as simple. Then say portability, well, this one is much nicer. It's easier to move around, but you know what? This one's pretty good too. Okay, if we're just comparing these two, just grab these scores as they are. The GPS rover wins. Okay, now, if we do have a lot of money, then maybe this doesn't count, as we talked about last time. Maybe this one doesn't matter as much as these other options if we have a lot of money. If we don't have a lot of money, maybe these other options don't matter as much, and the first one matters the most. It really depends on your situation. You can apply scales. Another way of doing this, though, is called the Pugh Matrix. Now, the Pugh Matrix, we can have these options, the robotic rover, the GPS rover, but we also have the standard quote-unquote do-nothing solution, which is just use your existing equipment. And for this option, for a Pugh matrix, we're not going to give these actual real numbers. What we will do is we will give an up-down. Okay, so for existing equipment, for a Pugh matrix, what we're going to do, Pugh matrix, the score on each of these 4 conditions is going to be 0. Okay. Now, if we use the existing equipment, it's going to be expensive to purchase a GPS rover. It's also going to be expensive to purchase a robotic rover. And for that reason, both of these, plus, minus, they both lose a point. So if we only considered this option, if this was the only measure by which we compared all 3 of these options, we would go with the existing equipment. We don't have to spend any money to do that. We save buku bucks. Okay, that's it. These have a -1 score. The end. Now, if we look at the next one, well, this option, if this is usable, these are highly more usable, way better. Okay, they're just mountains above. Learnability, I would say that the GPS rover probably sits about equal to the existing equipment. They use the same principles. You have to understand the same knowledge. And it does require a little bit more on the software side to be able to extract the points. And I would say probably the same thing for the robotic rover. Then when it comes down to portability, a GPS rover is very easy to take apart. Definitely a plus one. And as far as using the existing equipment, the existing equipment is about the same as a robotic rover. So going through a Pugh matrix, what we're doing now is we're directly comparing these options to each other to see, should we make a decision? This is no longer okay, well, I'm going to throw numbers on there. It's a direct comparison method that allows you to make a decision. Now, again, remember, the purpose of a decision matrix is to be able to algorithmically prove that one decision is better than another. Okay? You're going to have to do some of this for your final project, which I will discuss in a little bit. There are other types of decision matrices that are available. One common type of decision matrix is it's like a critical self-evaluation called the House of Quality. The House of Quality, we're not going to go into a lot of depth here. Unfortunately, it's really hard to discuss online, in my opinion, because it's really something that you have to do together. That was an in-class activity that I'm going to have to cancel. Oh, shucks. Work to do. but really understanding the purpose and the reason behind decision matrices is really important. What I will be giving you a quiz this at the end of this week over lectures, um, because that's one of the transitions we're doing with the online learning. You will need to understand what a Pugh matrix is and what makes it different. What makes it different from more of an addition-based decision matrix. Pugh matrices, again, plus one, minus one. This is a direct comparison between these two, whereas the number method that I showed you last week, it's much more for just generally evaluating an option. Pugh matrices have their merit. You may say, okay, well, this one is way more expensive. Maybe this becomes a -2. You really feel like it earns that. But it is a direct comparison between what your default solution is and a new solution. Whereas the addition method it's much more independent. No solution depends, the evaluation of one solution does not depend on the evaluation of another solution. So, Pugh matrices can do some weird things too. I've had some Pugh matrices where I compared 3 different options and I said, okay, we're going with this one. And then I compared this option to this one. This one lost to the default solution, but this one beat the solution that beat this default solution. So you can get some weird answers. I ended up going with the second solution better. I had not evaluated them at first correctly. So decision matrices are not always perfect. But the goal of it is not to get a perfect solution. The goal is to be able to make a decision. And sometimes those decisions are wrong. Part of life. Having these as measures of being able to state whether or not we can understand if something is wrong is really important. These are your measures of quality. Okay? We talked a lot about measures of quality so far in this class. Being able to take your measures of quality and convert them now into a mathematical problem, such as in a decision matrix, or such as in a Pugh matrix. That's really going to benefit you overall as a designer because it's going to give you that much more algorithmic power to really critically analyze your design. Can I say this is a better solution than what's existing? Yes. Why? Because it's going to be more portable. It's a lot easier to move with just one person. And it's going to be more usable. Yeah, it's going to cost more, but can we now take this cost and justify it with 2 features, which are our plus one? Can our minuses, are they justified by the pluses? That's something else a Pugh matrix tells you. Let's do another example of a Pugh matrix, and then I want to talk about your project. So we're going to do, let's say we're making a decision. We would like to, as a company, we're going to be bidding on, we have 3 types of projects we're going to bid on. Okay, let's say we're a civil engineering facility. Okay, so we are civil engineers. Okay, and we're trying to figure out how best to allocate our resources because we have 3 different bids we could pursue. So bid 1. Now let's say none of these are guaranteed. None of them at all. So we may pursue a bid and be rejected. But we're trying to figure out in a time crunch, which one should we pursue first? Okay. Bid 1, we'll say that this is a hotel building. Okay. Bid 2, we'll say this is a parking lot structure. Bid 3, we'll say this is a convention center. And we'll say our default solution is going to be not to pursue any of the bids. Okay. Now, as an engineering firm, when we go to pursue bids, the measures of quality by which we understand whether or not a bid is going to be substantial, um, it's again just applying the idea of measures of quality. How do we know whether or not a bid is a good idea? And well, some of it is, how are we going to allocate our time? Is this going to take a lot of our time resources to develop this? Okay, so we'll say overall time commitment. Process. A parking lot is very straightforward. A convention center is incredibly challenging because there are intricacies, each individual piece, how they correlate. Certain rooms have to be designed certain ways. Even hotel buildings can be designed. I hate to say it, but it's kind of a copy and paste design. You don't have to have unique rooms. Really, what you have to have is just have rooms. As long as they're functional, you can make them pretty simply. So we will say staff commitment. How many people is it going to take to design the staff? It's probably going to take a lot of people, regardless of what we do. We will say, as we're pursuing bids, we want to talk about potential revenue. Okay, are we going to make money? So, we've got 3 options. Let's try another couple. Let's try potential for future bids. Is this going to expand our portfolio? Is this going to be something we can use as marketable material? So portfolio expansion. We'll say other things that we should consider. We'll say expertise, utilization, utilization. Are we utilizing our resources appropriately? If we don't have people who understand this area, we're poorly using our resource. Similarly, if we have a lot of people and none of them really do parking lots well, we're also poorly using our resource. Similarly, we're not using our people at all. We're really poorly using our resources. Okay. Well, we'll say these are our 5 characteristics that we're going to judge all of these. Okay. So for topic 1, we're going to compare building a hotel to not doing anything. Well, the bid process, plans, plans to the construction agency, right, and the person who is taking all these bids, all these different bids from different companies, and they say, do we like the style? Do we like the timeline? Do we like the do we like how this is going to be built? Do we like the way this is going to interact with the environment? Is this functional? Is this nice? So just submitting a bid doesn't mean you get anything for it. A lot of companies, particularly the civil engineering companies, will submit a lot of bids and get turned down. It happens. You have to keep pursuing bids, or else the business doesn't generate any money, and you're just wasting your time. So you just have to throw out bids and hope one of them sticks. Okay. That's why the no bid is an option. None of these are just going to be useful. If we have the time for this, well, if you don't have time for it, you're not going to be pursuing a bid. If everybody's already working on projects, you're not going to pursue it. Okay. So overall time commitment. We'll look at the hotel building first, compared to no bid. Is this going to take more time for the hotel building compared to not? Yes. So this is going to be a -1. This is going to take more than doing nothing. Yes, significantly more. Is this going to generate potential revenue? Oh, heck yeah. Lots of money there. And if this is something where, let's say this company has focused on smaller buildings, they have the competency to build larger hotel buildings, but this would be a really nice staple of being able to show your capability. This would definitely be a +1. And if you know how to do it, this would also definitely be a +1. So your overall score here, just comparing these without any weights, this one probably should be weighted the most. In fact, I might go ahead and just weight this, list this as the ×2. Okay, we'll add 2 there. That one's really critical that we make money here. Otherwise, we're wasting time. We can just sit around and not do our jobs all day. I think that's called quarantine. I mean, I'm doing a video lecture, so technically I'm doing my job. Although I do have a massage waiting for me right after this corner. Okay, so the overall total score with this, including now the weight on revenue generation, is -2, +2, this is a +2. Okay, so this is going to be better than the solution of not pursuing bids at all. Okay, that's what we do. Now we're going to look at parking lot. Okay, parking lot, overall time commitment. Yeah, it's going to take time to develop a parking lot. Yeah, it's going to take staff commitment. Yeah, it's going to have potential revenue generation. Yeah, maybe it'll expand your portfolio. It definitely will, more than not doing anything. Being able to say you have a new parking lot is a lot better than saying, well, we didn't do anything in the last 6 months. We got really good at strategic. And then lastly, utilizing your expectations. You're going to be using your personnel better here than you would not use them at all. So once again, this ends up at about a +2. Convention center. Okay, gonna take a lot of time. Gonna require commitment. Does have the ability to generate potential income. Okay, it's definitely gonna expand your portfolio. Convention centers. These are things that architectural firms, civil engineering firms really count themselves on. This building we design. We design one for you too. And expertise utilization. You're definitely gonna be using people more here than if you don't use them all. This one also ends up at +2. Whereas this one ends up at 0. So comparing these options, hotel, parking lot, convention center, all of them are better than the default solution. Unfortunately, this has not helped us to make a decision. Except the only decision that we make, there is no reason why you would pursue the default solution. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Okay, we have made the decision not to pursue the default solution. But we continue. We're going to make one of these be the new default. I'm trying not to, I didn't have audio quality in my morning lecture. I wonder if this is a YouTube thing or if this is my computer just hates the time of day thing. But thank you for letting me know, Grace. So we now have these 3 options. I'll stand over here from now on. We now have these 3 options to compare to each other. Okay. We'll pick one of these to be our new default. Let's say, okay, the parking lot's probably going to be the easiest to do. I'm not a civil engineer. I could probably design a parking lot. They're really not that hard. You just follow some standards and codes, draw up plans. We'll make this our new default. I'll try not to stand so close to the microphone. That's what's causing it. Is it better over here? Let me know. So this is our new default. We're going to erase the values that we've come up with, and we're going to generate a new default solution where we're comparing these now directly to building a parking lot. The new scores for a parking lot, 5, 0. We're forcing that to be 0. A little better is better than nothing, I guess. Yeah, I will consider that. I'd have to buy a mic. I have a mic, but I have no way of connecting right now. Yeah, that's been fun. But I will try that. Okay, so our new default's parking lot. Okay, what we're going to do is we're now going to compare a parking lot to bidding on a hotel versus bidding on a convention center. Okay, overall time commitment, it's not going to take a lot of time to develop a parking lot. So we'll put this as a -1 on both of these. Quite frankly, developing a parking lot is going to be your least time intensive solution, least staff intensive solution. You don't need as many people. Heck, I can do it myself. Okay, potential revenue, both of these sit at a significant benefit. Designing a parking lot may cost $60,000. Designing a hotel or a convention center, you may be talking on the order of $10 to $15 million for the building. You get even 5% of that cost. 5% of 60,000, about $1,200. Nope, $3,000. Yeah, $3,000. Really not a lot. Whereas if you're looking at $15 million, 5% of $15 million, that's your commission. You're making in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. $3,000 is chump change in comparison. So here, great amount of potential for revenue here and here because there's a lot more work involved. Okay, portfolio expansion. Being able to show off that you made a parking lot, unless it is the coolest parking lot in the world, which there are people who are experts at parking lot construction. I can't go on without stating that. But so I'll hurry up and finish this. If I get a knock on my door, apologies. Portfolio expansion, these are going to be much more impressive than a parking lot, unless your parking lot is incredible. So this is going to be definitely plus one. An expertise utilization. If you don't know very much about building a hotel or a convention center per se, it may not be beneficial in that route. So here, we're just comparing these two. You know you have the ability to build a hotel because it's not that simple. You built buildings like it before. Building a convention center, you're using about the same amount of expertise. It's about on your competency level. This would be a stretch for you. Whereas this is not a stretch for you. Okay, and in this case, our decision matrix then definitively states we purchase. This is 1, and this ends up being 2. This decision matrix says, let's build a hotel building. Let's bid on the hotel building. Okay, now we can run this again, and we may be able to compare these two to each other. We may find something completely different. Pugh matrices are intended to be something you do iteratively. It's not something that gives you a concise, here's the best option. all it does is it compares two options to each other. And if better options exist, or if you don't even know enough about one option, you may get something wrong. So it's a good thing to include multiple Pugh matrices. Okay. These aren't too hard to build either. It's just a condition, score, options, total score. There's some discussion on that in the book. Too, you can find examples of this online. Pugh matrices are pretty common. Like I said, I will require that for your project. Now, one thing I will state is that your project is, I've posted the details for your final project on Blackboard. Your final project is going to be the design of a pancake printer. So I included a little video. If you don't know what a pancake printer is, back in 2016, there was a lot of explosion on social media because somebody had finally designed and developed a way of 2D printing a pancake. They call it a 3D printed pancake, but really wasn't a 2D printed pancake. And then the concept is novel. The fact that you can make food look like whatever you want. But really, there was a number of issues that plagued it. 3D printers are notoriously slow. There are 3D printers now that have sped up the process. We can always talk about that if you really want to. There are some novel ways of producing printers that I don't think have been available prior to the last few years. So there's an interesting way of doing it. But if you check out Blackboard under project description, I have included a project description for the pancake printer. Basically, what you're going to be doing is, if you aren't using SolidWorks, I am going to expect you to do either the drawings by hand or an AutoCAD. These cannot understate how much more challenging it would be to do it by hand or by AutoCAD and make it look professional. We're going to be talking about professionalism in SolidWorks drawings and how to really show off a nice professional part and assembly. Trying to draw those by hands, it makes it really complicated. And even trying to draw by AutoCAD, I used to have to draw those in AutoCAD. They are not fun. It's a lot of work. SolidWorks makes it very streamlined. It's really easy to work with. You know how to draw stuff, you know how to edit things. It really makes the process a lot nicer. But what I'm looking for in those is going to be included in that. Basically, what you will be doing is working individually on designing a proposal. Your proposal template is a document that I'm going to post online. I have to finish it first. I'm also going to be posting all of the deadlines for everything as soon as I get a chance. Now, I have in our lectures on SolidWorks, which are primarily going to be on Thursdays, we're going to be discussing just generally how to make pancake printer. I'll show you a design for what I would do to develop it. I don't want you to come up with what I came up with. Feel free to copy me if that's really your fancy. A huge part of this is going to be showing a decision matrix. Is this better than making pancakes by yourself? If you can show that, you have succeeded. The review of the pancake printer that was provided in the video link that's on the project description, the guy decided that it was not better to use the pancake printer as opposed to making them himself. And he'll explain why. You can watch the video. I would advise you watch other videos on 3D printers, on pancake printers, and everything. Just absorb resources. That's going to be some of your background information. But I will post the template, give a little bit more discussion later on. Thank you for watching me, and good luck. You have some homework assignments due tonight, a reading assignment and a modeling learning assignment. I don't believe I posted any other assignments yet. Oh, nope. I didn't post any quizzes from the last week of watching lectures. Last week's lectures just kind of were kind of a test. But I will post a quiz due next Tuesday over this lecture, and also a new modeling learning assignment, and also a reading assignment. Okay, so we'll have 3 things due next Tuesday. We'll talk more about SolidWorks on Thursday. I'll see you then.